troops.
Are you sending the vice?
Yeah, we're not troops.
When you say
Do you plan to send the vice president and Steve Witkoff? There's reports that you want to send the vice president and Steve Witkoff to meet with the Iranians and have discussions. Is that something you're considering?
Not sure yet. I may. Depends on what happens when I get back.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end. A real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent.
Yeah. Or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Is that possible? Is that possible in the next 24, 48 hours?
Certainly possible. Complete give up. That's possible, yeah.
Has the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the Secretary of Defense drawn up plans for you if Iran were to attack U.S. bases or do any damage to U.S.
I can't tell you
bases?
that. No, just can't tell you.
Can I ask you, because there's been some skepticism, is there any guarantee that if the U.S. did get involved militarily, that a U.S. bomb could destroy Iran's nuclear program and facilities?
Use of everything or anything on life, you know that. Look at you, right? There's no guarantee. But you're saying a guarantee on what?
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program, or where's your assessment of that?
I hope their program's going to be wiped out long before that. But they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
What do you have any reason to believe the Israelis are going to slow down, or are they going to hit the accelerator right now?
Well, we're going to see. You're going to find out over the next 2 days, right? You're going to find out.
Has the Gang of Eight,
Nobody's slowed up so far.
has the Gang of Eight been notified about what's coming in the next couple days?
Well, we'll be talking to them.
What can you do?
It's not necessary.
What can you do in Washington that you couldn't do in Canada?
Just be a little bit, I think, more well-versed. Not having to use telephones so much because I don't believe in telephones. Because people like you listen to them. So being on the scene is much better. And we did everything I had to do on the G7. We had a good G7. We signed the deal with the European Union, phase one of a deal. But we signed the deal with the UK. And the UK is really great. We're very far down the line with a lot of deals. I mean, look, we're actually finished with every deal if you really think about it, because all I have to do is say, this is what you're going to pay.
Did
But
Secretary
it's
Bessent,
nice to be nice.
did Secretary Bessent stay behind as your representative?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, a couple of people.
Can I ask you where?
Who else has a question other than CNN fake news?
President,
See the Russian
President, you talked with the European Union. Can you tell us what the status is on talks on those you signed
Well,
with
we're
the UK
talking, but
today?
I don't feel that they're offering a fair deal yet. They've been very tough over the years. If you look at European Union, they formed in order to hurt the United States on trade. And we're either going to make a good deal or they'll just pay whatever we say then.
What about the Japanese, sir? You met briefly with Prime Minister
We had a great conversation. I thought he was terrific, actually. You know, I was very friendly with Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister. He was a great man. But I think he's going to do a very good job.
Do you think you have a chance of a deal there?
There's a chance. They're tough. The Japanese are tough. But ultimately, you have to understand, we're just going to send a letter and say, this is what you're going to pay. Otherwise, you don't have to do business with us. But there's a chance.
They want changes to the auto tariffs as well. Is that on the
We'll see
table?
what happens.
All right.
Anything else?
Yeah, this drone attack in Kyiv. What's your response to that? It looks like 14.
When was that? When?
A drone attack, a Russian drone attack in Kyiv.
When?
Very recently.
Just now.
14 civilians in an apartment building.
Is there not
I
also
mean, as I'm
what's
walking
in
back to
there?
see you, that's when it took place.
Something like that.
Sounds like it. I'll have to look at it.
Are you going to give on the Middle East? What changed about that convinced you to sign on to the G7 joint statement?
Well, I haven't seen the statement yet, but I authorized them to say certain things. I don't know whether or not they said it correctly, but I think they probably did. We had a good meeting. I think that Canadian representatives were very good. He did a very good job.
How are the
Carney
trade?
did a very good job.
How was your meeting with him? How were the trade talks looking with the Canadians?
I think it was good. I think we had a lot of good talks with a lot of people.
You said he's looking for something more complex. Can you tell me what you mean by
Well,
that?
they get too complex on the deals and they never get done. And we need speed. You know, we're dealing with really, if you think about it, probably 175 countries. And most of them are going to just be sent a letter saying, it'll be an honor to trade with you and here's what you're going to have to pay to do it. We're making a lot of money. You know, we took in $88 billion in tariffs called by Congress about 2 nights ago saying, we don't understand, the numbers are so far off. And I said, is that good or bad? He says, well, we're taking in so much more income than we thought. We've never seen anything like this. What is it? I said, check the tariff column. And it's about $88 billion that they've never seen before. And that's nothing compared to what it's going to be.
You've got other tariffs coming down the pipe here.
I have a lot of them, yeah.
What's the timing on those things like lumber, copper, pharmaceutical drugs?
Yeah, we're going to be doing pharmaceuticals very soon. That's going to bring all the companies back into America.
All of them, or focusing on?
It's going to bring most of them back in, at least partially back in. You know, they left us because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell they were doing. We should have never lost our car business. We lost 52% of our car business over the years. Should have never lost it. All they had to do is say, if you make a car, you're going to leave us, you're going to make a car, you're going to pay a 25, 30% tariff, and they would have never left. Nobody said that to anybody until I came along.
Homeland Security is saying that ICE is going to start enforcing in hotels and farms again. Is that a change of course from last week?
Well, we're going to look everywhere, but I think the biggest problem is the inner cities. We're looking everywhere. Look, what they let into this country, what Biden let in, and were allowed to. I don't think he knew what the hell he was doing, frankly, but whoever worked for him, what they let into this country, we're never going to forget it. They let prisoners in, they let gang members in, drug dealers in, the mentally insane into our country. No, we're going to get them out. There are far more in the inner cities, Democrat-run cities, sadly. I mean, I'm just giving you, there's far more in there than you have on a farm someplace.
So no one's getting exemptions anymore. Everyone is.
Well, everyone's being looked at, but the bigger problem is the cities right now. That's where you and that tends to be where the really bad ones are. The murderers. You know, they've let in 11,888 murderers. People that killed people. Biden allowed that to happen. So the Democrats allowed it to happen. Biden didn't know he was even around.
Question on your Senate confirmations. With all the military actions, there are only 3 of your 6 sub-cabinet members at the Defense
I'd
Department.
like to see the nominations go faster. The Democrats hold up our nominations.
Are you going to talk to Senator
Yeah, I
Thune
will.
about
And
that?
John Thune's doing a very good job. You know, I've got a lot of people in, but he's doing a very good job.
Have you had a
The
chance?
Democrats, if we had George Washington up for approval, the Democrats would take maximum time, every hour, every minute, to delay him as long as possible. If we had a combination of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, they would go max. It's called max time.
Mr. President, you've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon. But how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear
I
weapon.
don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
I got us one on. You were at this beautiful scene for the meeting, and you said a lot about acquiring Canada as a state. Did anybody talk to you about that? And where
I
are
think
you
it's a
now?
much better deal from Canada, but, you know, it's up to them. They're going to have to pay a lot of tariffs and things. They're going to have to pay a lot of money for the dome, for the Iron Dome. They want to be a part of it.
Did you talk
We
about
may
that?
make a separate deal on that, by the way.
On the
We
dome?
discussed that, yeah, on the dome. That may be a separate deal. They want to be at $71 billion. They're going to pay.
There could be a dome thing separate from the
They'll
tariff.
be in the dome. Yeah, they'll be under the dome.
And were you open to negotiating with the Iranians right now, or do you want to wait?
I don't know. I've been negotiating. I told them to do the deal. They should have done the deal. Their cities have been blown to pieces. They've lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate now.
Do you think you'll be in the Situation Room tomorrow at any point?
Yeah. Tomorrow morning, girl. While you're sleeping. Goodbye,
Tell us
everybody.
about why did you tell people to evacuate Tehran? You know, you posted
Yeah,
evacuate.
I think it's safer.
Are you
On
There's a
Minnesota,
lot of bad things happening there. No, I think it's safer for them to evacuate.
on Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. He appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call them, but why waste time?
On the big beautiful bill, sir, or can you talk about what the
We're
Senate?
doing well with the big,
How's it looking in the Senate?
the
They
great,
proposed some
big,
changes.
beautiful bill,
Are
right?
you okay with their changes?
I hear so far it's going well.
Are you going to extend?
Look, if it doesn't get approved, 68% tax increase, and I think the Democrats would have to, they'd be, because we won't get Democrat support. Think of it. We're giving the biggest tax cut in history. Instead, you have the biggest tax increase in history. 68%.
Are you going to extend the TikTok deadline again?
Probably, yeah. Probably have to get China approval. I think we'll get
You
it.
have the legal basis.
I think President Xi will ultimately approve it.
And you have the legal basis to do that. To keep
Yeah,
it
sure.
extended.
Yeah, we do.
Two more on Iran. Is there any sign that North Korea is getting more involved in helping Iran, or is Russia getting more involved with
I
military?
haven't seen it. No.
What
I don't
about-
think anybody wants to get involved. It's a mess.
What about American citizens, U.S. citizens who are trying to leave the area with the airport shut down, Ben Gurion shut
We're
down?
doing the best we can with it. We're working on that. We're doing the best we can. Thank you, everybody, very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Have a good time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you, Caroline.
Service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit.